Hello, this is Lisa Lee, and welcome to this week's Pick a Card reading. This week it was funny because I was talking to our guides and I was saying to them, like, we need to do something lighthearted. We've been so serious in Patreon, and I want to kind of like pick it up at like what's like fun. And so one of my guides who communicates like mostly in song, and there are guides that do that. So like sometimes when you catch a song in your head, like it's a guide, there's a message in it a lot of the time. But this guy started singing, I got a feeling somebody's watching you. And so we're going to be looking at like who's watching you. But I want to look a little bit closer than just who's watching you, because who's watching you can be all sorts of things that aren't particularly helpful. What I want to look for is who's watching you that can see you. So, and I'm hearing the song again, I got a feeling somebody's watching you. So there's someone watching you, and Spirit is saying, it's not just Spirit's saying, I want to bring in a story around it. And it's not just what they're watching, but what are they seeing? So we're going to look at that. So pile number 1 is the white frog. Pile number 2 is a bell. Pile number 3 is a little deer and a tree. And so I'm going to give you a moment to just meditate. The bottom of the deck energy, when I pulled these 3 out, is the uncreated. So if that pulls you in a particular way, it is possible that all 3 piles are for you. So just take a minute, take a minute and see what pile is calling you in, and we will begin. Timestamps are below. Okay, pile number 1, let's get some cards on the table. So for those of you that chose the white frog, this is a card that kind of speaks about like, who is this person just generally? And with the iron card, we are talking about reliable and adaptable at the same time. It's like an interesting combination. And so like, this is an energy that is like I think that the greatest strength, sometimes this is a strong energy. This is a person who is strong. They like things to be reliable. They are reliably like come from a place of strength. If they're not feeling strong, then they're finding a way to feel strong. And so they're almost like very interested in like structure and structural and having things be a certain kind of structure. So you have this energy that is watching you, that is able to kind of be the strength in every encounter, in every room, or find its way towards a position of either portraying or actually, I think, like being the strength. And it's not a strength that is born of being rigid. It's a strength that's being born of being able to shapeshift. And so that's an adaptability that this energy uses in a very practical way. So what are their motives? Let's see their motives. Let's take a look. And I'm hearing the song again. I got a feeling somebody's watching you. So what is this person's motives? Good or bad? We've got a bunch of cards here that sort of signify a lot. So like, you know, this person's motives may be good, they may be bad, but there's a lot more to the story. So once we see what these motives are, we can unpack them a little bit. I've got a feeling somebody's watching you. The hunt. Okay, so this person is focused on completion, support, and expediency. Ooh, all right, like I like what I'm seeing here. So I'm going to tell you what all of this is in one moment. Actually, let me focus for a second. Like there's like this practical plumber energy with this card right here, because I am seeing plumbing for some reason. So there's something about the way things are structured, the way things move, but the way things move underground that are very specific to this energy. With the authority, the hunt, and the natural balance. Again, like I felt this balanced energy, this adaptability, this reliability. And that's what this card speaks to. Like even in the book, I think it says like, you know, this is an adaptable, reliable metal. But for the purpose of like how this person is very interested in how things work, and you're very interested in how things work. And I think that that's where the hook is in terms of the attention. But they are coming from a place of authority and investigation, but they're not really antagonistic. I think they're looking to find some sort of like you present an imbalance in the way that they see the world, but they're looking to find the balance here. And even like the imbalance that they perceive with who you are. Like there's something about an imbalance between how you present and how you are and something else. So they're trying to find, they're like, what's the balance here? And with the Lord of Riches, the wisdom, the inevitability, and the equity, this is a word. Sometimes I have auditory processing, like with words, like in my mouth. Equanimity, being equal in a way that is like very unique. And so you have a quality that is like very unique and sort of like niche. And it's seen as something that is of great value, but from a place of, this is an energy that normally is extractive. It's an extractive kind of a way that this person usually attends to things, but the way that they're holding you, they can't quite grasp it. And since they can't quite grasp it, you know, what they're feeling about the value of what there, you know, there is some aspect of this that I don't love the energy around, but I kind of forgive it, because it seems like there's something about you and this energy that is watching you. And there's some other element here related to this. There's almost like a third energy in the mix that I feel, but it's because motivation is funny here with Hades, the Lord of the Riches. So I do pick up on some kind of a, that's weird. I can't get it exactly. I'll come back to it. But with this completion, support, expediency, in both these photos, we have a lack of color, a lack of like a sort of dry, you know, it's an expression of power that is hollow. It means nothing to me. You know, it's like it's a power that requires agreement. It requires cooperation and participation. And so as long as this energy has kind of been fixated, and I do see kind of a fixation, there's an inability to grasp and really bring this into a place where you could be like you can't be colonized. Something about you, like, that's impossible. But it's that this thing that can't be grasped, this ineffable quality here with the apple, both these and this very like heavily guarded energy of like this is a warding and warden sort of energy. Like they're both sort of holding you in terms of how they're perceiving you with a kind of gentleness that is, it's like, in this case, this is an energy that says like, I can't quite grasp this. And this is an energy that says like, I don't want to crush it. And so like, there's something about this is interesting. You know, like this is a very weird perspective in terms of like, somebody's watching you. Because I was thinking that to be like more like a crush, but there is something here about like a strange observation, or a strange position of observation. So I want to get some cards here about the story around this, and then I'm going to look at some different aspects here. Every time I shuffle, the song comes back on. Somebody's watching you. I wish I knew the words, because I can only kind of hear the melody. I'm not hearing it come in like a clear reading. The Sun card. Seven of Cups, the Ace of Wands, the Knight of Swords, and the Ten of Pentacles. Nice. You actually probably have a bigger audience than you realize in a certain kind of way. Temperance, bringing balance. Yeah. So this natural balance and this Temperance card, trying to bring balance, trying to understand, trying to look at the components here. Because you do have, like, there's this way in which you come off as being very angelic, but the question is, like, what's at work within? Like, what's at work here? And I think that's what I'm picking up, because it's like a kind of a dry energy. But check out this see how this person's sort of like walking down the street, you know, just having an experience of what feels like isolation. But look at the audience behind her in that, and I'm feeling like there's a truck going by that's kind of loud too. Like the power of, like, the audience that holds some level of power. Like the truck is speaking to me. It's kind of a strange feeling. Like there's something that's like you carry a lot in the way of attention that I don't think you really understand what that means, or how people perceive that, or the danger that people see with what it is that you are able to do. So I think that like part of this, like this energy, you know, it is looking at you and looking at what you're able to produce, not really able to grasp how this all happens. There's a desire to sort of allow it to breathe, like let it do what it's doing. But like, how do we bring balance to like to what this presents, and where the balance is off, and like what it means all, like there's almost something, you know, I can almost see something very, I'm almost seeing like a storyboard, but like not quite. It's like questions, like just a series of questions, a series of mysteries. So with the Sun card being about finding clarity, you know, when it comes to whoever this energy is that's watching you trying to get a fix on who you are, what you represent, what you mean, like how you play into everything, and like what is this picture, you keep on operating like a roller coaster, where it's like there's some sort of thrill in this journey that you are bringing people on, in what it means for them to observe you in this. Somebody's watching me, because it's confusing. The Seven of Cups is saying, like, here's all the options at the store of what is available in terms of the box that would fit you and that would make sense of you, and that would somehow like answer these questions about you. But you're something else. You're not presenting as one of the options, you know, in the list of things. You're not one of the categories. You don't present in a way that it's this roller coaster. As soon as somebody's like, that's it, I gotta fix, you know, put the stamp on it, you like break through with something even more like revelatory, or something that comes through. Somebody is on a roller coaster with what it means to watch you, because you literally confound them. Like that's the Seven of Cups. Like here, you know, Seven of Cups is about illusions and delusions, and not being really able to get a fix on like what is real and what is not real. And that's sort of like this thing that happens with you, where whoever's watching you, they are able to perceive something that is just beyond what they understand, just beyond what they've seen before. And the inspiration that comes through you, that's something here. That's something for sure. Like that can't be denied, and that can't be ignored, and that can't be illegitimized. And so there's a lot of mystery about you that the inspiration kind of like speaks to whenever there's a question. And so there's something really, really powerful, especially with this audience with the Seven of Pentacles, with where, you know, a question is presented, and then somehow in some way there's a divine inspiration that answers for it. And that in itself is a type of action that's being taken on your behalf. And so this balance with Temperance is less about the energies that are trying to make sense of you, and more like the influence of the energy that moves through you that is making sense to them. Got a feeling somebody's watching you. This is a fun reading. You know, I'm drawn to kind of like take it into an odd direction, and I want to see like what are the past life influences here, because here's my complicating factors, and the complicating factors worry me, because like there is something sinister overall, in a way. You know, I'm feeling this person's energy as being like a practical, like, like, you know what I mean? But at the same time, like, why? Like, why is this presence so powerfully showing up in your reading as something that almost is like, there's this aspect of like, and this is how you get captured. You know, it's a very strange thing, but I don't believe it's a capture that is worrying me, because of the way that you're being held here in both of these pictures, even though the energy that is observing you in terms of that motivation, like it's like you're a level of wealth and wisdom that has an equalizing aspect to it, and there's an inevitability about what it means for, like, this energy cannot conquer you just because of the Seven of Cups quality that you are, and every attempt to box you or put a label on you or understand the ingredients or get a fix with the Sun here and clarity, like you just move and you move and you move, and this inspiration that moves through you, it has a confounding quality that is in fact an action being taken by some power. And so I think that you're recognized as holding some level of power. And there is this balance. Like, how do we bring balance? How do we bring balance to these things? How do we make sense of this is another way of saying how do we bring balance. But what are the past life influences here? Because there's something about this energy being adaptive, and you're adaptive, and again, it feels like a hook between the two of you, like they see you and you see them. And so part of this reading is not just like who's watching you, but what are they seeing, and why is what they're seeing like a draw for attention, and why does that attention hold? And with this one, they see something in you that they see in themselves. They see a scope of vision, and they see a level of pattern recognition, and they see a way of expressing that is somehow like it's related to their magic, but they're not having access to it. And so like they're like, you're a type of mirror with one of these, and I get, it actually doesn't feel like one energy, but like one of these energies in particular, like whoever has that, like, I think it's this energy, sees something in you that they see in themselves. There's a commonality there that they can't get away from, no matter how hard they try to. That's why they can't kill you. That's why they can't just like snuff you out. Like this ineffable quality, this beauty, it's something that they recognize in themselves as something. Yeah, so that's cool. I don't quite see where that's going, but it seems significant. And so bringing this balance is sort of impossible to, there's something about, sorry, I can't stop seeing this thing. There's some element of prophecy and a divine encounter. And there's some aspect of arrows here. So whatever this past life is, you know, I kept on being like, there's some ineffable quality. There's something that they recognize about you, that they recognize in you. And I actually do think that they love this quality in themselves, and they love this quality in you. And this love for you, it you know, while there's some past life aspect of eros, like there might be some past, you know, encounter with like a romantic something, like flicker, you know, of interest, or maybe there was like a little bit of a crush there, because it's not striking me as like I'm seeing a bat and a ball field. I'm seeing someone throw a pitch and miss. So there's something here about like, you know, that past life encounter, you know, while there was some aspect of love to it, what that whole arrangement that caused that kind of, even like that flicker, is that there's some similarity there that is quite profound with the nectar. It's something that you have, that you put on display, that is like of great value, in a form of expression, in a language. It's almost like this person's mother tongue. They can hear it, but they don't understand the words, and they're learning the language, and it's something that they know intimately already. So there's a very powerful past life connection here. I'm just gonna have some water. You know, the problem with this roller coaster is like there's a desire by this energy, and more like, you know, in terms of like how can we bring balance, like how can we restore natural sanity. You know, there's a propensity to like cast you in a suspicious light here with the Seven of Cups, but that keeps on getting undone over and over and over again by whatever it is that is moving through you in such a powerful way, like how you speak, how you present yourself. Like there's something about magic making itself known that I do not think you are aware of it. I see you here as being oblivious, and that's good. That's working. You know, this person who's watching you is trying to kind of figure it out. You don't need to be a part of the roller coaster of like suspicion and, you know, confusion and like, you know, elevation. Like there's this almost constant movement of ups and downs related to how this person is trying to position you, or make sense of you, or put you on some kind of like shelf that, you know, their brain organizes things by, but like that fire just keeps coming through. And so I want to look at the complications, as much as I hate the complications, because this deck really speaks to like what's yucky about this, like what do you want to be mindful. You know, everything has its light and has its shadow, and in this case the light seems to be that the revelation is of value. And like how it happens, there's like a nectar, oh yeah, and the sustainer and the comic, and that flew too. So you are being protected, you are being sustained. Any attempt to crush you like will not succeed. The box that they've tried to put you in, like you will not fit. And so what there is left is some relationship with how do we get at this nectar? How do we get at the value of this? So let's see the complication here, because there does seem to be a little bit of like strategy. It's a very cold kind of a observation. in the sense that like it's also warm. Like, it's just so hard to explain this. Like, I just feel this person as being like kindly, you know, and firm and rational and deeply like invested in things making sense and being, you know, and balance, and you being this roller coaster energy that is like confounding at every level. It's not like contentious. Like, it doesn't feel like for or against. It does feel like, when I say warm, I think that there is a gentleness to the way that you're being regarded and held. But there's also this aspect of the hunt and trying to sort of like get to a place of authority on something or another. Let's see the complications here. What are these complications? Show me the complications. Mother Goddess. Show me the complications. Yup. Saw that one come in. Okay. So the complication is there's always an ugly counterfeit to every true thing. To every true piece of craftsmanship, there is someone making it with crappy materials that won't last and that will break. You know, for every like authentic expression, there is somebody who can mimic it. For every, and I can hear the truck coming through, and there's something about like the overall infrastructure of those that are powerful and those that are powerless. And so there's always this aspect of like, when you see something of value, how can you like how can this energy of the drama queen take it and package it and sell it and make it something that, like, you know, they can put on their shelf as an accumulation. There's some extraction quality to the way that this person views the world. And it's not just an extraction quality, it's an extraction quality where they pick it up and then they go to make use of it, and they see people in this way, and they see talent in this way, and they see individuals through this vein. And so, you know, every encounter with something like true and beautiful becomes, how can I turn this into myself? How can I wear this for myself? And so, like, when it comes to the complications here, you know, on the one hand, there is an aspect of strategy, because like something that you are presenting, you know, is quite amazing, you know, or something, you know, and it's a roller coaster here. The action that is being taken, by way of the divine, is, you know, in this accumulation of, there's a level of interest that you don't even realize is there. You don't understand like the power of that influence. You think you're alone in this, like, no, you're not. But the complications come in terms of, like, you know, the motivations are not necessarily good or bad. The motivations seem neutral, but, you know, with the Sun card, with this up and down, with this roller coaster, the retail therapy guru aspect, the complication here is the location of the store, what the store is selling, and what those stores normally sell. And so this is when it gets a little bit creepy. And this is when all of these cards here with the complications speak of a dark mirror. It's like the dark mirror deck. And so, you know, where you are showing up as of some kind of value, something really precious, something to be understood, something that has a lot of very powerful attention, something that can't easily be packaged, something where the action being taken on your behalf is coming from somewhere that no one can quite capture. You know, there is this angelic aspect, but what's behind it? You know, with all of those questions related to the nectar, what you hold that is precious, you know, there is some romantic aspect here from the past that has an aspect of it that is like conquest. And this drama queen is all about conquest. And so how can I capture, hold, position, you know, put, like, narrate, like overtaking, you know what I mean, extracting. And so the fact that you present, you know, through a window, that there's something about that storefront that is a complicating factor. And whether the complicating factor is good or the complicating factor is bad, it presents a complicating factor to whatever that power structure might be. And so this can come up in two ways. And one way I see this is that you have a voice, and that your voice can take things on a roller coaster. And that this retail therapy, because I'm seeing it like a storefront, I'm also seeing it like a platform. I'm also seeing it as influence in one way or another. You know, it's something that you offer that others receive. And so like there's like part of the complicating factor is also, again, like the nature of the store, because what I'm being shown is confusing to me, because I'm looking at like the store that I'm seeing is in the red light district. So there's something about the district, the placement, that it is a complicating factor in terms of what it means for you to present yourself. But there's something about it acting as like a disguise, it acting like there's something, I can't really get it, honestly, like it's not totally clear. You know, the elements of this is there's something about where you're presenting from and what you're presenting for and around and with, like what you're offering. Retail therapy guru. I think that the nature of the roller coaster is that's not something that's like easily, is something about this. I can't get there. I'm kind of in the neighborhood. You're going to have to fill in those blanks. But with the Seven of Cups and the yoga pretzel, you don't fit in any of the boxes. And this yoga pretzel, you know, whatever positions you keep on moving in, you are presenting something real and organic. You know, you are offering something here with the apple growing very naturally, that no matter what the position, it's not coming from the place where people are shopping. And so this complicating factor of you not fitting into a box is also like you almost like legitimizing. And so it's like a positive kind of complicating factor, like that you don't easily fit into a pose, and that you aren't easily like that can't be easily replicated. You know, like because you don't fit into a pose, you don't fit into a box, even a real thing on this shelf is still stuck on this shelf. You're not on this shelf. So like there is a complicating factor to like the place where you're coming from, the position that you're speaking from, the way that you are presenting to the world. It's a roller coaster. It doesn't even fit on that shelf. Like that's something that, again, like is really all a part of what it means to not be feeding the monster of like that false mother, the dark mother series kind of energy. There's a complicated factor in terms of your site and fear of missing out. And I think that this is you a little bit, you know, for lack of a better word. Like, yeah, I think that you kind of just feel like, in the absence of a box that you fit in, because I think you feel all of this stuff. In the absence of the box that you fit in the absence of a pose that you can't hold, you know, that people want to participate with, like in the absence of a proper either platform or at like easy way of speaking from like what you're trying to offer, like without an easy way of communicating, there is this aspect of up and down roller coaster. But I think that you feel like you're missing out on, you know, experience of being seen, heard, and understood. Because this over here with the Ten of Pentacles, you're totally checked out. You're not really plugged into this. You're feeling very isolated and alone between two walls, like within the labyrinth that you're allowed to move in. So you feel really limited, but you've got the attention of an actual crowd. Or group that has like there's something there. But here with this fear of missing out stuff, or like I think your position here in terms of like the power of what comes through you don't see the impact. Actually, that's this. This is this Ten of Pentacles of wealth and value that you walk with, that others are able to recognize in the way that like this impact takes action, that they can't buy, you know, that they can't like themselves acquire, because that's this impulse buyer. This kind of like this complicating factor here is that you're not selling something that can be bought on a shelf. You know, what you are selling, and I think that there's a big question about like what do you present, is something that takes people on kind of a roller coaster. It just doesn't, you know, it moves, it has movement to it. And you don't see this impact here. Because this is this impulse buyer. What can I buy? What can I take? What can I make? What can I take? What can I make? What can I make? What can I take? What can I take? What can I make? You know, how can I be like, this is this crazy sickness here that is, you know, most people when they consume to create end up having this kind of experience. And so when we look at this, like, you know, inspiration that comes through you, the impact that it has you know, in this environment. And this can even be like an algorithm. If you look at that, it can even be an algorithm. Like even the algorithm can't properly place you, or wouldn't be able to properly place you. And so whatever fear of missing out you have by that feeling of lack of belonging, it's doing something incredible. And so I think that I think that they are seeing this, you know, about you, like how, you know, who's watching you, they're seeing this conundrum, but you're having a completely different experience here with the fear of missing out, feeling like, you know, you're looking at, everyone's like there's all these screens, you know, that come in and out. And you actually see these clear pictures. And like when you are able to work with what it means to kind of convey the truth of what you see, it's an inspiration that that takes an action that can't be it's impacting at a level that's powerful, but like not immediately accessible to you. And so you do feel like you're missing out on recognition and maybe even validation, but you don't know you don't understand what I'm seeing here with the Ten of Pentacles situation. Like if you look at this card, she's walking, she's in the labyrinth, she's stuck, she's walking, she's doing. But look at this audience behind her head. And the complicating aspect with the Netflix and chill and the awkward dancer, like again, I think it all comes down to there seems to be someone watching you, people maybe in particular, they see the value of what they have when they see the value of what they have when they experience you. But this is not easily transferable. And so when it tries to translate, like that's why you're in a very unique position here with the awkward dancer and the Netflix and chill, is that you do inspire like great dreaming, but there's something awkward about the whole movement that doesn't serve this drama queen, that allows for this experience of being watched and even seen, but you're not getting anything from it a little bit here with the Ace of Wands and the fear of missing out sufferer. I'm just taking a deep breath because I think this is probably where I'm going to leave it. Maybe not. Let me see what the lesson here is. Let me see what the lesson is. Because where your inspiration comes from, I'm having a hard time with this because there's some element of this that is a little bit tricky that I want to just be careful with. There are those of you that are, so when we do readings, energy is always transferable. So there are those of you that are very much in this position of the temperance, like alchemizing and creating something that doesn't have a place yet, and it's really incredible, and the inspiration that comes through you is the action taken that confounds the consumption and places you in a position where there's tremendous tension and attention and a real understanding of your value, but like not you understanding it. So like that's one aspect of the energy. There's another aspect, because energy is transferable, of this aspect of the drama queen, and like not being able to turn this into something that offers them access. And so like, you know, that might be what I'm picking up on with this energy. Yes, strategy, failure, and trauma. There is the energy of the drama queen kind of like weaving through this story in almost to support you. Like I almost want to support you and say like that what this ends up being in the way of attention, in the way of value, in the way of what you have, can't be acts like, you know, someone's watching you for the purpose of extraction. It's not going to work. It's impossible. And so, you know, those who watch for like the energies that are coming in here that aren't the nectar, but are kind of showing up like trying to sell something that leaves them tangled up because the pose can't be properly held, because the vision is coming from somewhere that isn't like, you know, consuming already consumed stuff. And now there is like an exhaustion and like an awkward. So like there's ways in which like energies interact with your energies along these lines, but like, you know, very specifically what is watching you is confounded by you in a really positive way. And so let's see what this lesson is, because for you, there's the fear of missing out, and you're not missing out on anything. Because if you weren't this roller coaster that couldn't easily be, you know, like put into a category because what you're creating comes from somewhere that doesn't even have a category, if you weren't receiving divine inspiration, if that wasn't impacting those like that are possessed by consumer tendencies, and the war god stuff, like if that wasn't what was going on, I'd be worried, because what you have in the way of value that you're not even seeing, because there's an awkward process in terms of your becoming, it's a positive, it's a boon. You want this. This is very good for you. You don't want to be easy to figure out. And I think that your fear of missing out is like, why can't I be easily figured out? You don't want to be easily figured out. You don't even want to easily figure out yourself. It takes all the fun out of it. So let's see what the learning thing is here. What's the lesson in this for you in terms of this person who's watching you? All right, so you're teaching whether you realize it or not. You know, whatever you having this attention, you are in the position of the mentor. You know, so I'm going to read the shadow and the light attribute, because there's a distance to be traveled with this. In the shadow attribute, a mentor is someone who has an inability to allow the student to move on to the role of master, imparting false instruction. I think that, you know, because there is this aspect of suspicion with the drama queen around you, that is something to the extent of, you know, are you doing all of this to like gain some sort of power? You know, like, are you imparting false instruction? Are you trying to gather people, you know, to yourself so you can have them? Like, are you trying to be followed? Like, there's something, the shadow attribute of a mentor is basically a fake mentor, someone who presents as something and someone who has expertise or wisdom and somebody that doesn't. And so I think that that is like, you know, the frame that they would try to put on you, or the frame that even somebody who would try to extract from you, is that you're teaching something that you've, you know, gotten so they can teach something that you've gotten. And like, it just kind of continues this impulse buyer kind of, you know, thing. But like, what can't be taken action on here is that for you to continue to pass on wisdom and refine a student's character is exactly the mechanism and exactly the movement of what it means for you to be inspired by divine powers. Because if you were consuming from other consuming, like, there's the impulse buyer here with this card, and this complication is like, I think even with the retail therapy guru, I think where your store is parked is very much in this consume and like the consume, the cannibalism of like consuming to produce, consuming others to produce yourself, consuming others to produce your stuff. Like, this might be like where the roller coaster is happening, and where whatever it is that you're selling can't be bought at that store. You're not consuming to produce anything. And so what we have here in the way of watching, and I almost feel energies of like watchers, you're not missing out on anything. You know, that inspiration has an impact that is passing on wisdom and refining a student's character. You know, if there is some element of a lesson for you related to the impulse buyers who are going to buy it, repackage it, and sell it, is that has nothing to do with you. And I'm even kind of talking to myself a little bit. There's an aspect of my energy that's kind of coming through in this, but like, that really doesn't have anything to do with you. And especially in terms of these people trying to get a fix on you with the apple and that butterfly. Like, no one's really able to like package and sell what is ineffable. And so you don't have to ever worry about that. And no one is willing to crush you in their curiosity. You don't have to worry about that either. And so the lesson here is more about like, just keep on being true to what it is that you do, because it has the correct impact. And what it means for you to have these this audience with you is you're not teaching something that can be taught, I guess. It's so hard to explain. But with the beggar here being about the lesson for you, you know, the beggar in light is confronts empowerment at the level of physical survival, awakens the spiritual authority of humility, compassion, and self-esteem. Every time you show up authentically, you know, with this roller coaster, that authentic expression can't be pinned down. You know, what you have to say is not a pose that can be like imposed. You know, dependence on others to the exclusion of effort is the same as the inability to allow the student to move on to a role of master, imparting false instruction. You're not dependent on the students any more than the students are dependent on you. You're just going to keep flowing with passing the wisdom and refining the student's character through that passing of wisdom. And so this confronting empowerment at the level of physical survival means, you know, keep on doing the authentic thing, whether or not it necessarily pays the big money. Because the big money and the value of like all of the buying and the selling and the buying and the selling with the retail therapy guru, the complication is, as long as you are in an authentic expression and doing the alchemy of like working with the gods work for you and with you. And so like, that's kind of a big, I don't know, whoever's watching you, it's fine. I think that this is a person who is interested, perhaps a little bit dispassionately, but from a place of very inspired. Whatever strategy might be here, it's failing because this keeps on causing levels of trauma just to sort of be in your, like just to be around you. Like it has it's like confronting at like the deepest, most loving level with this confounding sun. So pile number one, I think I'm going to leave it there. Unless I feel like it's mean. I feel like we're leaving on a mean note. I don't want to leave on a mean note. So I just want to see what the guides want you to do. By leaving on a mean note, like this nectar is beautiful. It's recognized, it's seen, it's valued. It's not being crushed. It's being handled properly. The complicating factors are just stupid. You don't have any like real complicating factors except that you're being perceived as, with a retail therapy guru, selling something that, even with all this clarity, those ups and those downs, and like, where does it come from? Like, these aren't negative complications. These are saying that you're doing something right. So what your guides want you to do with this, being perceived in this way, is recontour. You are the catalyst. And with the bottom of the deck energy, cultivate your innocence. You are innocent. I think that kind of is why this is like, that's the nectar. You know what I mean? Like, whatever this innocence is, you are the catalyst. You are cultivating something that comes from a place that is actually quite pure. I do see that. And so how the gods are going to intervene on your behalf, and that's where we're going to leave this, as you continue to confound strategy, by, constantly, like, it's just not, all strategies of extraction will not work with you. And like, this impulse buyer Netflix awkward dancer thing, the value that you have, it can't even be easily shared, I'll be honest with you. And so let's take a look at what the gods are doing on your behalf, for and with you, related to this change, this catalyst that you are, like, that you bring forward, divination and the wisdom of the shells, and rapid development, excellence, and success. So that's what the gods are doing with this connection. And so we're going to leave that there, pile number one. I hope that was helpful, and you're doing great. Keep alchemizing, keep expressing authentically. You are confounding something in such a elegant, beautiful way. Okay, pile number two, those of you who chose the bell. And so the energy in terms of who's watching you. So this is interesting because this kind of feels like codependence in some ways, but like in a very interesting, when you have two different people and you put them together and they have a lot of similarities, and those, like, I almost see like a merging, a psychic merging that occurs with trauma. So a lot of times, like, this intimacy will be attained through like a kind of psychic merging that happens when you have to pull it all together, and you have to kind of like lose yourself in terms of what it means to keep things together or to keep it together. And both energies, like in the mix, like feel unseen. So there's this aspect with this coagulation, and the person that is watching you, where whatever it was that brought you together, there are aspects of what that bringing together is like there's like a stuck quality. Sort of an enmeshed quality. And even if you've done the work of kind of separating yourselves, there seems to be these like very deep entanglements around wounds is almost what I feel. Let me get a little bit more. I want to look at the motivation. Did you see how those like eyes there that are watching are kind of like in this mess of a nest of something that has come before that created a sort of closeness that was sort of artificial. And now I think that there's some kind of a psychic merging at play in the way that they are watching you, like that codependent energy and that merging. It might even not be something that this person might like view themselves, experience themselves, see you as them or something. Like, it's kind of a weird, there's either there's some aspect of you losing yourself to them or in them, or them losing themselves in you. but this being not a healthy, 100% sort of healthy aspect. There it is. So knowledge, instruction, reinvention. Their motivation is actually with the bottom of the deck energy. Again, this was in pile number 1. So that they're you know, they are guarded. You know, they are heavily guarded in their energy. And so their motivation is not necessarily to reveal themselves to you, but they are aware of what you are as being something that's delicate, something that's maybe even a little bit miraculous, something that brings color where there is none. Look at the difference between this energy that is almost like a giant fly or something, and all of its armor, and your energy that is showing up like this delicate butterfly. So you have this energy's attention. You have the attention of something very big, very armored, very powerful, but in a way that is like, oh, this little flower, like, pretty, you know, like it's almost kind of sweet, you know. So wherever this psychic merging, you know, is like, and again, this could be like it might be a past life entanglement. This is so strange. I feel like you guys were involved in a wound that when it closed up like with levels of intimacy or levels of closeness or aspects of self. There's some kind of a merge here. It's hard to get an exact like, but with the motivations are not that bad. You know, I'm not seeing somebody who's like motivated to. I'm hearing not motivated to rip you apart, and so that seems like very violent almost, but again, I feel a softness towards you. And so with the Father of knowledge, instruction, reinvention, restlessness, independence, appraisal, meditation, communication, and culture, you know, there isn't really a negative, there's no negativity here. You know, like there's not negative ambition. There's not negative motivations, but there is something about emerging that doesn't feel, I don't like the way it feels. So I'm going to look into that a little bit more. I'm going to see what the story is here. So that coagulation, that's things coming together in a way that like they do stick, they merge, but the pieces, the components aren't merged. And so there's some kind of a merging here, and some kind of a way in which this is stuck together, but the components don't, the components are not, the components of self are not absorbed into the whole, but the components of self do seem to be like somehow like coagulated in a wound. It's strange, it's hard to explain this. Let's get some more cards. One more. Somebody's watching you. There's something about a tree. I think it's an oak tree. Queen of Pentacles. Wow. Oof. Look at that. Aren't you coming out in an interesting way? So whoever's watching you, they're close to you, actually. There might have been some sort of a, sorry. Excuse me while this is the Queen of Swords at the bottom of the deck. I want to get the complicated factors out here because this is interesting with the Seven of Swords. So energies that are watching you, sorry, I'm a little lost in this story. Like, I'm seeing this as being the aspect of you that is resplendent. You are like, so whatever this coagulation is strange, because something that is watching you feels like it's a part of you. It might be a part of your past. It feels some sense of you belong to me because of something that we some aspect of we. You belong to me because of some aspect of we. And you show up as this resplendent, like this, there's something about the way that people respond to you, or something, a way that you, I don't even know that you realize it, but like the perception that others have of you is quite, think about like gold gowns and like running through like gilded halls. Like there's some like funny quality there. But with the, this business suit underneath, something about this coagulation has you in a box where this person is perceiving you from a time or a place that they knew you, where things came together in such a way that did not show a picture that makes sense against this picture that you present. And we're going to get into more of that, because with the strength here, there's some level of endurance that is necessary at this time, in terms of getting a hold of whatever this relationship was, or this relationship is, because whoever is watching you is aware of some sort of dual nature, and they're kind of stuck to an old story. They're sort of merged with an old version. They're watching with like a position of like a former entanglement that is fixed. It's like held, but it's so partial. And so there is some sort of like healing operation here, or healing aspect here, something that requires endurance. And the Magician is really interesting, because you're perceived as having like power, like real power. And like with the Seven of Swords, especially on the witness stand here, there's something here. Because with that King of Cups, that King of Cups is great love, and great love that goes all the way to the bottom of the ocean, like in a storm, in such a way that brings calm waters. So like, you know, no matter what the emotional upheaval is, this connection is deep enough that it always provides a level of like calm. With that Ace of Pentacles, there's something about this that is very much meant to be on your path. But that Queen of Swords is speaking about like a level of communication and a level of relating that has grown cold, or that has some cold aspect to it. Like there's not a heart in this mix. But there's a closeness, right? So this closeness, this merge, this fused into some sort of like former connection, it's having a rupture in one way or another with the Strength card, and what is going to be created of that rupture is yet to be seen, because there's something about the truth here that is elusive. And again, like there's a calming way in which the depth of love exists to sort of like keep the storm of confusion, you know, because there is a storm of confusion. Like it's not an unhelpful, not an uncomfortable process, whatever this like communication culture and mediation aspect is again, like there's some storm, and then this mediation aspect isn't here, and there's something about the way that you move and the way that you're praised as a certain kind of value in something that operates as like a restlessness between these two poles, like is creating for yeah, man, this is so weird. How can you be so stuck to this old version of yourself, so stuck to this old version of this like fused, merged like goop, you know, like this is weird. Let me get the complicating factors. I got it. So whoever's watching you, they're stuck to you. They're stuck to a version of you that they have some codependent relationship with. And that version of you is not the same that they are seeing. And so again, this is a little bit tricky. Let's find out what these complicating factors are. Let's take a look at that. I see 111. Something right now is happening here in the way of reinvention. But this coagulation is actually very uncomfortable. I don't like the way that this feels. It doesn't feel like there's enough space in whatever this merge or this fusing. It's like you can only exist if you are existing from this place where I exist as merged with you. And you're basically like not going to do that, can't do it, won't do it. And there's this resulting shift here around the story where you're trying to arise as resplendent. There's a box here around this merged kind of version of yourself. and you are strong enough to break that with this aspect of the magician who brings in new elements and makes new things. But what is the Seven of Swords? Parallel Parker. Actually gonna put that there and let them come out in order, because that does go there. I'm hearing, who are you? Who are you? So I think this person has a real genuine question about who you are. Again, like there's this lack of, there's some elements from pile number 1 that I'm seeing here. Yeah, gross. You know, there's always a shadow. So the Mem Lord is an energy that wants to conjunct everything into a funny little soundbite that makes them feel more popular in one way or another. Like that's the Mem Lord. How can I not only put this in a box, but make this box something that like makes me like lighter, especially with this chronic multitasker, like, you know, always looking for opportunities to conjunct things into a framed package that gives some authority or position, or even like admiration or even like status to this other energy here as the Mem Lord. And so when we think about you as this resplendent energy, and the Queen of Pentacles is showing up with this incredible value, I'm gonna call that value, and the box that you like, that is the executive that would actually move this value forward, you're parked. You're not being the executive. You're not coming in the role of an executive here. You're parallel parked in the position of embodying 2 places at once and being very much on display in a way that is true to you, but holding this aspect of your past, not necessarily close to your chest in a negative way, but you're not going anywhere with this. And so whatever this frame that this energy keeps on trying to like present to you or present with you, it's because of some kind of past merged event that they feel like they have to exert some level of control to bring you under the picture that they presented related to whatever that coagulation, the way that things came together is not the way that you're presenting. And so like there's a whole mess of stuff here that is very much being undone by the fact that you are parked between 2 poles. You're actually not going anywhere. You are just expressing. And so the strength that you've had in this position, because there has probably been a level of temptation to try and step into the marketplace of this is who I am and this is how I want you to see me. Because you haven't done that. You've been parked in this is how I am and this is what you know of me. And if you find this to be something that deceives you, it's because it's your small frame that is glitching, right? And so when you refuse to like package and sell yourself in such a way, when you refuse to show up in a role in a script as a mem, you know, and when you kind of like are participating in what it means to get a hold of yourself and bring yourself into a healthier place, you know, coming from whatever was this coagulation or trying to pull yourself out of whatever that coagulation is, you're not giving this person the hit, you know, like they're not getting that hit. And so it's almost like whoever's watching you is learning a lot, you know, about communication and culture and mediation. They're learning a lot, you know, about what it means to go from this restless place of trying to control and capture, you know, into a place of independence where the appraisal of what you are has nothing to do with like the motion and the movement and more to do with the way that you are actively like galvanizing your strength toward healing and also creativity. Because this hungry beast that wants to just capture and eat creativity, you know, because it doesn't have a source of its own. And again, you know, when you are responsible, I'm taking a sip of water because I just want to talk about this. This is the scariest deck, this bot. This is the, you know, when you are responsible, you know, with authentic expression and creativity, you get more of it. When you are responsible with what you are taught, you are given better and more teachers. Like it's a sort of thing with and so there's something here about the hungry beast that like wants to consume you. Like with this Magician card, you just keep disappearing and reappearing and disappearing and reappearing. And so I think with the Seven of Swords, like this is an interesting thing, because the serial killer is going to be like the worst, most monstrous, like scariest thing. And like that you would even be in this position of like on trial, like, you know, like having to interface with whatever this accusation might be. Because I do see it as being like an accusation. Like all of this on the bottom represents like the shadow, the dark mirror, you know, whatever this energy that at one point has there's some merged event, there's some merged experience, there's some way in which like parts of you and parts of them are like stuck in something. And again, it could be your past. This could just be like a picture of your past where whoever's watching you is trying to kind of work with this and has you a little bit on some kind of a trial here, where, you know, with that King of Cups, like that deep love in the storm it's being questioned along the lines, is this like emotional manipulation? And, you know, your path with the Ace of Pentacles and the passive aggressive notes taker, you know, there is this question of whether or not you are just, you know, somehow taking notes, you know, like on something, you know. And so like this whole operation, and it does kind of remind me of pile number 1 a little bit, like in terms of how you were seen as this really valuable, resplendent, amazing like thing that is not, it's not going anywhere, that somebody can track, because you're parallel parked between two poles, like, you know, some aspect of your past that is this very controlled business kind of an energy, and then the way that you express, like the strength that you have in your own healing process is keeping you from like easily falling into the trap of consuming to produce, right? So like that's helpful. And as a result, like what you were able to create doesn't really feed the hungry beast now. So you're not feeding the root system of something that may have existed here with this coagulation. You're not feeding whatever this old form is, whatever this old story is. Whatever you are doing that is outside of the box no longer coheres to whatever that picture or whatever that frame was. And so you're not feeding this old picture of yourself. You're not feeding this old version of yourself. And so whoever's attached to that old picture and that old version, they're not getting fed, you know. But the problem here with the Seven of Swords and the serial killer is almost like, well, like, you know, like there's an accusation. Let me get some cards here. What is the accusation, first of all? It feels gross, you know, to be honest. Because you are in a place of reinvention and what it means to reinvent yourself. And like, I think that there is, whoever's watching you, there might be some element of conflict with this reinvention, but I also think that they see it as kind of like a guiding light. And I also see that they see that as something like beautiful, that they're not crushing it. Like this energy could crush it, but it doesn't adhere with the former picture. And so whoever's watching you, like there is this like putting you on trial here with this serial killer here. And like, you know, all of these deep emotions are you just manipulating, and like everything that you are, you know, making a path with here, like where is it coming from? There's a coldness around whoever's watching, but in terms of what they see, there's what they want to see, and then there's like the reality of what you're presenting. And so let's just see what the Seven of Swords, like what do they think you're trying to do here? Like what do they think they are trying to create here, or what do they think that you're trying to put on display? Because you're way more beautiful than they could have ever imagined. Like, let's put it that way, with that Queen of Pentacles. And you're parked there. You're not moving away from the beauty that you are. You're not taking like the bait. So this Avenger, okay. So with the bottom of the deck being victim, all right. And so like they're sitting there and they're saying, you know, okay, you're not feeding this old version. Okay, you're becoming something new. Whatever you're becoming, it's not in service to the gross things that I expect of people. And so then the question becomes like, are you just playing the victim for positive feedback in the form of pity, and an inability to maintain boundaries? Or Or are you going to help others are you going to prevent yourself from being a victim? And are you going to help others from being victimized? And there's almost a question of like, will you be the avenger? So like whatever that gross situation is, this person is thinking, is this person going to be my avenger? Are they going to be my avenger? Is what was in the past going to be avenged by whatever's happening with this person? And so the avenger is the desire to balance the scales of justice, righteousness on behalf of society or oneself. And, and so I think that you did this. I think maybe you were in the position of an avenger. You probably were in a position of trying to help someone out of a victim situation. And so where the serial killer comes in is whatever this position as avenger, is this position as trying to keep yourself from being victimized going to be something that you stand on trial for. Now, this reading is kind of hitting close to home, I'll be honest with you, because there are elements in both the first and the second that, I can see what that is, right? I can see what that is even from, where the school of fish is intersecting with the current that I'm currently part of the school of fish, and so resorting to violence in the name of a cause, that's going to be this, is that what you did? You know what I mean? And then playing the victim for positive feedback in the form of pity and ability to meet personal boundaries. Is that what's going on here? Is that what's happened? Is that what happened? Is that why we can't be together? Or, is that why you're presenting another picture? Because, for positive feedback, or, you don't have boundaries, or, is this a cause that you care about more than me, or us? So that could be part of it. But there's this other sort of picture along the lines of, in this change that you are undergoing, are you going to actually bring some level of justice? Are you going to prevent? You can go either way. This can either be a landmark moment of emancipation where you are advocating for yourself and advocating for others, or it can be something that is perceived to be. Let's get a little more crime. I might as well. Let's see what your guys want you to do here. What do they want? What do they want to say under the Seven of Swords? Serial killer. It's amazing to me that you're getting this attention in this way, because it's almost like you are this person's avenger with that coagulation. And so why would this be a danger, right? Why would this be in any way a problem? Your innocence. Cultivate your innocence. And accept the healing energies. So there is something here that this person is aware of in relationship to your past, where they're not sure where you're going with this new direction, and what it means for you to have such a depth of field related to emotion, and even a depth of field related to feeling other people, whether or not this is a manipulation, or whether or not this is something that this is maybe something that is an encounter that needs to happen. But I think that innocence is really important here with cultivate innocence, and accepting the healing energies is really about not letting any of this dark mirror stuff even have anything to do with you, because your path is set, and your path is so set, and your path is so real, and it's such an arm of nature, and it's such an arm of the mother, that communication, that current can't be messed with. So any attempt to sort of break it down to sort of field notes is good luck. You know what I mean? I think that this energy is impressed with you even, but I also think that there's some aspect of you don't cohere with the former version of things, and that's making me look a certain kind of way. And now how can I, try to force a petty version, of events, or try to sort of, get a sense of what it means to there's something here, there's a little conflict here with that. And so I want to see real fast what the gods want to do to help you with this, because it's not a big deal, except that whoever this is, whatever you're attached to in the past, whatever's attached to you in the past, there is some aspect of them keeping an eye on you, watching you, clocking you, and trying to figure out where some of this power that you're carrying, and the version of you that they know from the past, this aspect of strategy, they're waiting for you to move in a direction that they hope will be strong for them. And they hope will be hard to pin down for them. And they hope that your innocence brings a sense of their innocence. There's some kind of a merge here. And with that King of Cups, like, I almost think that love, that deep love, is you that brings the level of calm to the storm. And whatever that passive aggressive note taker, whoever's sitting here and taking notes on your path, is it real? Is it not real? Are you amazing? Are you not amazing? Are you perfect? Are you not perfect? You know, are we together? Are we not together? You know, are you going the direction that I want you to go? Or are you going in a new direction? All that yearning here is actually, like here's what your guides want to say about this, with the bottom of the deck energy being, you're on your way home. We're bringing you home. We're bringing you to a place of arrival. We're bringing you to a place where this journey of who the heck knows with what enmeshment, you know, is dealt with. You will be established. You are building something. You will feel settled. Whatever this person's obsessive note-taking, like, because there's something about your path, there's something about your journey, and they're taking notes, 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 and they're trying to kind of capture it in this Queen of Swords mental place, and they're sort of bringing this back to you, you know, with all of these, like, almost like accusations. It would feel like along the lines of, like, where are you going with this, you know, like, how are you going to keep this alive? You know, how are you going to feed the perceptions or the expectations? And, like, you know, what is this hungry beast? Like, how can what you are, like, there's a yearning here. It's a genuine desire to be close to you. It's a genuine desire to be a part of your life. It's genuine desire to participate in some of what this is. But it's taking, like, the form of, like, a compulsive note taker. You know, with some, like, weird little suspicions and hopes, but essentially, it ends up being fine, because this is something where there's a lot of learning, there's a lot of movement, and you are on your way home. The guides and the gods are really bringing you on your way home, and there is a longing for someone. There is an undesired separation. There is a pining that is included with all of this, but ultimately, you know, this is going to have to heal. And I just want to see real quick what the gods want to tell you about whatever this process of the healing is, because there's some aspect of your past that somebody is so attached to that they're watching you, and every move you make also feels like a move that is made, like, with, for, or against them, and none of that is real. And that's sort of what this whole, like, exchange has kind of been. The gods are bringing you home. They're helping you receive and accept healing energies. They're the arbiters and the ones who, you know, it's like this innocence is about something that you cultivate in your honesty and your truth, but it speaks for itself. It works for itself. So this venom, you know, that is here, you know, with this coagulation at the bottom of the deck, in terms of, like, this riddle, you know, where there does seem to be some, like, you know, putting you on trial. Are you for or against me as you move? Yeah, no, you know, it seems like part of this is a weird desire that's not expressing properly, but you're being moved home, which is probably also somewhat away from this other person. You're holding this nectar, and so that bottom of the neck, that bottom of the neck, the throat chakra, where you're speaking from, that place with this gnosis. It's not just something that you have that you're finding your way home with. There's almost like a homing device that comes with this gnosis, that when you speak this gnosis, or when you participate with your gnosis, your knowing, when you're in flow with the divine, when you're in flow with the mother tree, you know, the nectar that is produced, you know, that's your emancipation. And that's your self-knowing, and that's your mirroring. And so whatever this venom is related to this yearning, it's a yearning for something that you possess in the way of home. You feel like home. You even represent as home. And so pile number 2, this is who's watching you. And I'm just feeling into, like, if there's, like, anything kind of like a last, you know, both pile 1 and pile 2, the people who are watching you are really just trying to figure you out. And what the people from the past are bringing in the way of venom is a way that they feel attached to a perception that now has them having to reconfigure the way that they feel like it reflects on them. Like, there's a whole mess here with that. But you're being gently guided, and you're being I see, like, a ferry. You're being, this traveler, you know, you are being moved by way of, like, whatever this appraisal is. It's appraisal that the gods have. You know, the gods have an appraisal with you where you are being moved through culture and communication in a way that, of course, is not going to follow these rules. And so this is a new thing with this feather, that blue feather. There's something miraculous, and it's something that even the most powerful like won't crush. So with that, pile number 2, that's who's watching you, and I will see you again soon. Okay, pile number 3, those of you that chose the little deer and the tree. We've got the sun card here. And so this card, so this is an energy that I would say, like, I'm hearing, you are my sunshine, my only sunshine. You make me happy when skies are gray. So there's something about you and this energy that, like, you are, like, you light this person up in a way that let's take a look and see what the motivations are here, because this card is, it speaks of like a level of, like, I see the sun finally rising. I also see something that is in one way or another, like there's an aspect of this attention that's always meant to be yours, like you were meant to but there's something so beautiful about the way that your heart shines with the golden sun here. The energy that is watching you is actually quite beautiful, I think. Yeah, Golden Empress, totally. There's something really powerful here. So let's get the other cards. See this. So you have this incredible. I felt, all of this stuff. So, I felt this. This is like, this sun has finally risen. Like this energy of like, like you shine like I actually hear you shine like the top of the Chrysler building. Like you have such a shine. You are such, a powerful, beautiful energy with the sun. So you have an energy that is actually like glowing at you like the sun. And with the Golden Empress, the potency, the confidence, the magnetism, this is also a super confident energy. This is an energy that has the quality that you have. Like there's some commonality here. With the Red Shepherd, just reward, evaluation, and respite. Again, what a relief you are. So you present as a relief. You present as something that matches this level of brilliance. And the Maestro, understanding, community, and ingenuity. I'm going to say that these are the people that kind of see you as having a role, as something that, like, as somebody who inspires. And we have this card again. So again, these obviously, I've never been able to do pick a card that like the energies didn't like somehow like there wasn't the energies do somehow strain, because that bottom of the deck energy, for those of you that like all 3 piles are for. And so this energy of like what would normally be, and I think this could be like more than one, so this energy again, like this, the power of like the giant bug, with the armor, and looking at this like glowing butterfly, like the power is in the butterfly in one way or another, not in this armored structural monstrosity. And so like the energy that is watching you, and has been watching you in all 3 piles, if all 3 piles are for you, because this energy keeps on coming back. Again, it's this incredibly powerful energy with great armor and great wings, and can go great distances, but you represent something so new. It's like it's never seen anything like you before. And so this energy of the sun, the dynamic of what this watching is like that you are like a star in the dark sky. You are the sun that was always there, but is rediscovered with each new morning. You are the experience of warmth. You are the experience of clarity, and the energy and the motivation behind this is something that, it's like energies that are aligning with that potency, that confidence, that magnetism, that are feeling in harmony and resonance. That this is like a rewarding experience, because again, you provide some level of enlightenment, light, literally, that it's rewarding, like, but it's also the respite. I feel like a relief. And so what this understanding, community, and ingenuity is, this is all the right motivations of somebody who's watching you. Like, you want this to be what somebody who's watching you is doing, and feeling, and having the experience of. And so let's go and see what this story is around this. This is really positive. And I want to take a look and see what we've got. I got a feeling somebody's watching me. I gotta find that song and see what the rest of it is. Oh, 10 of Pentacles. Nice. So good. That's a good card. And the Lovers also. Such a good one. I feel like something else flipped here. Maybe, maybe not. It just felt like it. Let's see what that is. The Mob. Ooh, that's not cute. I don't even know what that card. It's a new one for me, the Mob. Okay, Chariot, movement, high-speed chase. Okay, and we have here, ooh, the King and Queen of Wands, but with the Knight of Pentacles between them. There's some, this is cool. I like the story. All right, so, I got a feeling somebody's watching me. All right, let's take a look at this. I actually do want to get the complicating aspects out here, because this high-speed chase, like, this is movement, and this is movement that you don't even realize that there are energies, like, I think behind you. Because there's two. This chariot in particular is like something moving by night, something moving by flight, and so there's major movement here with whatever this. Wow. Sorry, I gotta take this in. This is a great story. So let me see what the complicating factors are, because 10 of Pentacles, the Lovers, the Mob is a little bit strange, but that Ace of Cups is like exactly the card you want. But the King and the Queens being not looking at each other in opposite places, being separated by a Knight of Pentacles pacing. This just got good. So let's just see what the complicating factors are. What are these complicating factors with this story? And this is, okay, I'm going to put that behind, upside down. One is falling out. I got a feeling. These are cards that came out before, so looks like the piles are connected. Like, no way to avoid that. There's like no movement on certain things. Wizard. Conspiracy theorist with the Zoom meeting survivor. Ooh. Like, that's these two together. Okay, so the complicating factors here have to do with, and I'm hearing the song play louder. It's going louder. I got a feeling somebody. So this person's really watching you. Now look at this 10 of Pentacles that we saw in, I think it was pile number 1. And here's this person, this individual, and they are walking through the labyrinth of their life, and they're walled in on either side by like circumstance and circumstance. And they do not, and they're looking ahead. So what they're not seeing is this huge group behind them that is receiving whatever they're thinking, that's participating with whatever their mind is producing. And that group behind them represents this 10 of Pentacles. And so the 10 of Pentacles is going to be generational wealth. The 10 of Pentacles to me always means like your lineage, like what you inherited as the values and the strengths from all, like I think it's like, in order for you to be alive, you need 4,000 something number. Like it's a number. I'm seeing 4,060 something, I think, or 600, I don't know. I see 4,000, I see a 6, and I see a 3. So we have to look it up. But there's something like, you know, like a very specific number of people that had to survive and like, you know, grandparents, great-grandparents that had to survive and thrive in order to pass on their genes to you. And so I always think that the 10 of Pentacles is being like the inheritance of everything that survived to create you. But in this particular situation, in terms of like a person watching you or an energy watching you, this is going to be 10 of Pentacles. Like these are energies of significant value, and not just energies of significant value, but they're energies of significant value to their ancestry with this Ten of Pentacles sort of situation. Awkward dancer in reverse means that, you know, whatever you feel is awkward, or whatever you feel your movement is awkward, or whatever is sort of unbalanced here, this clarity, this sun, this energy of bright, new, beginning, beautiful, confidence, magnetism, it's not so awkward to them because this is showing in like upside down. And so something about this is just, you know, it is no longer, you know, presenting as something very awkward. And the Chariot, like your movement by night, I don't think you're moving in a way that is like obvious almost, because like this Chariot, I see movement by night, movement by flight. And I see the movement by night as being out in the open, but the movement by flight being something that is like unseen, or operates as something that's unseen. And so, you know, as you kind of like move along in night, not really, you know, perceiving yourself again as being particularly watched or noticed, there's something here in flight that is sort of trying to like catch up with you. And so like what was previously like awkward movement, awkward direction, an awkward way of communicating, you know, with whatever that Ten of Pentacles like energy of like that has been following you or traveling with you, there's something about like that awkward quality, no, like disqualifying or no longer being an impediment, with the Lovers in the parallel park. So this energy that is kind of looking at you in this way, that presents with this real strong armor, that is, you know, looking at you like you're like this magnet, like that you are a literal mystical butterfly. Like this energy is in the middle of the war, stopping the war, and being like, what is this creature? Like, what have I found? And this, and then like the illumination and the light and like all that is. With the Lovers card though, like this and the Parallel Park Pro, like this is not going anywhere right now. And there's a reason why this is not going anywhere right now, because if you look at the energetic like lovemaking that's happening in the background of this card, like the experience at the level of, I'm looking at the rain, something, I'm trying to catch something about an adaptability. I can't get it exactly, but you know, whatever is happening here in the way of an experience of maybe even infatuation, maybe even limerence, but like absolutely some kind of a closeness and an intimacy is not expressed. That park is like, this is parked, you know, this is not being expressed. What's being expressed is these two individuals are on their way going somewhere. They're going somewhere. Like this may be the background, but this, and they're going, you know, they're traveling from one place to another. They're both sort of like in the vehicle of transportation. So like whatever is taking them towards each other, whatever is bringing them into this place, like it's parked right now. It's not happening. Like this may be a level of law, like kind of a love sort of a feeling. It's a agency kind of a love, but it's parked, you know, for very good reason, because there's something about the Mob and the Trend Chaser. Let's get some cards on that. I'm actually curious. Let me see what that is. Is this the right deck for that? No, we're using this deck. So with the bottom of the deck being Conspiracy Theorist and Zoom Meeting Survivor. Zoom Meeting Survivor just means like, how many times have you sat in a Zoom meeting and just like literally like this, what is this? You know, like why is this time taken in this way? And like, what does that mean? But the Conspiracy Theorist says that like the level of disenchantment, the level of like previous sense of reality that this person, you know, kind of experienced in the way of like the day-to-day Zoom meeting surviving is now sort of like, there's this whole aspect of like, what does it mean? Like, because the drama queen is like the previous one who like sets reality and sets values. This is a new form of value. And so this energy is kind of like looking and being like, what is going on here? Like, what does any of that mean? If the false mother is not informing the value of this person, then the value of this person is completely different. That's outside of the confines of day-to-day Zoom surviving, you know, and into the realm of like this mistro, you know, this understanding. So it's a bright light. You shine a really, really bright light, so bright that it is having an impact on whoever is watching you, and the person or energy that is watching you, again, so guarded, so hidden, sees the value at a level that is like, it's almost like kind of chasing you, sort of just chasing you a little bit. Like there's no two ways about it. What you think of as movement by cover of night, this energy is movement by cover of flight. So they're like, everywhere you go, they fly. There's just something to do with that they are like very closely behind you. Now this mob and this trend chaser, that's kind of an issue. And I don't know what it means actually, but I do see that the King of Wands and the Queen of Wands are opposite. They're literally facing opposite directions. They're doing opposite things, and they're being paced. That Knight of Pentacles says that there's a pacing involved in they're facing away from each other. And so let's take a look. Yeah, he's directing a crowd and she's directing something very different. This healer here. And the Messiah, well that's, and the warrior at the bottom of the deck being the artist. So the mob and the trend chaser, you're obviously this very bright light, and so whatever the, value that is being perceived, the awkwardness that is being removed from it, the desire and the desirability, and like whatever this like energy who's watching you and what it would mean to sort of step into that intimate space, that's parked. We're going to park that because there's some sort of traveling with the chariot, some sort of movement with the chariot. Now, as far as the mob and the trend chaser, as being a complicating factor, that mob again is going to be some kind of like, it's like a group think that's incoherent. And so with the artist here on the bottom of the deck, in shadow, using talent as an excuse to mistreat others, posing as the starving artist to elicit pity, that really is like the trend chaser energy, is this shadow of like, what's the next trend I can jump on? How can I, use talent to step on other people, to be competitive, to elicit my own, like, blah, right? It's like that shadow energy of the artist. And that trend chaser is very much like the shadow artist, and not generating from a place of like, authentic creativity, but instead sort of chasing what is going to be popular or not popular. Like there's something to that. And so, but in light aspect, outside of the shadow, you have expressing a dimension of life that is just beyond the five senses, inspiring others to see life symbolically. I think that's the sun. And I think that that's like the confusion with the conspiracy theory, is like you are presenting a true form of art, a true form of expressing, is introducing a new dimension of life beyond the five senses. And so like I see that as being your interaction with this mob. Like, so these energies watching you, they're following you very, very closely with the chariot there. They're moving out. Like I'm hearing the song, taking me out of the ordinary. Like I'm tone deaf. Out of the odd. You guys know the song, taking me out of the ordinary. The odd, like that's what that's. So this is something here. This feels like that, honestly. This song, like taking me out of the ordinary, or the ordinary, if you look it up, feels a lot like what this watcher kind of experiences with you. And so when we think about this mob and this trend chaser aspect, here as like a complicating thing, I think that's more having to do with like they're watching you manage whatever that is, or deal with whatever that is, and they're really seeing you come out as this warrior: strength, skill, discipline, toughness of will, heroism, stoicism, self-sacrifice, and conquering the ego. It's almost like they're seeing like, and this is not even, it's still parked. It hasn't even moved here. So like whatever this movement is in terms of what you are, and whoever's watching you, when you get to this point of dealing with whatever this mob, this trend chaser energy ends up being, they're watching to see how you handle things. And, the trading ethical principles for victory at any cost, indifference to the suffering of others, and inflicted on others. This is not you. And so you're coming out instead of strength, skill, discipline. So they're watching you make these movements. I think that's why the awkward dancer, is upside down, because you're not really handling things in a particularly awkward way. With the Messiah card, serving humanity with humility, That's the opposite of being a trend chaser, you know, in a mob trying to catch the attention of the mob. And so, you know, an exaggerated belief that you are the only means through which a cause can succeed is, again, not something that you're necessarily moving with or for. You're definitely serving humanity with humility. Boom, sunshine. Like every time you do, like, you know, when you do art that's authentic, you shine like the sun. You know, when you react properly to trend chasing in the mob, boom, you know, like you're shining like the sun. When you are bringing in a level of humility with what you're serving, like shine like the sun. When you actually bring a level of healing here, with passion to serve others by repairing the body, mind, and spirit, ability to help transform pain into healing. This, again, when the mob shows up and the trend chaser shows up, like you are shining like the sun, you know, and you're not taking advantage of those who need help or failing to care for yourself. Again, you keep on shining like the sun with every attribute that you're coming forward with, and it's resulting in this Ace of Cups, this upswing of love from within the body of, like, you know, so like this is representative of like movement here. And like this is this Ace of Cups with the tech wizard. I almost kind of feel like this is like the algorithm, and, you know, the love that the divine has for you, that is an endless fountain that never gives up, that never stops shining. You know, you never like lose an opportunity to show up, you know, in these like ascended aspects with the artist, the warrior, the messiah, and the healer. And as a result, there's some sort of like a tech or like whatever this complicating factor is with the tech wizard, with technology, with algorithms. And again, that wave that picks you up, like we are seeing here, like almost like this energy is watching you. And I would even say to a certain extent, there's some testing that's going on, because the love that exists for you is in a parked place. The awkward dancer that does not realize, you know, what the power of their perspective has to offer is being perceived as not quite awkward at all. And the where you think you're going, that you don't see where you're going, like there are energies, again, like traveling by flight, that are actually directing your path. And so whatever the Zoom meeting survivor conspiracy theory energy of complicating, you know, like there's something complicated about what you bring that is so out of the ordinary, that there might be a lot of conspiracy theorists that are sort of attracted to that same brightness. But again, that's the mob and that's the trend chaser. And so, like, you know, you are in this position of being in the middle of what is otherwise like something not quite great in terms of how, like, this response to you, but you're doing really, really well with it, with that Ace of Cups and the tech wizard. But it is on pause, like something is very much parked. With the Knight of Pentacles, you are being very much paced in what it even means to come into union with like these two energies of the King of Wands and the Queen of Wands, even within yourself. So like even that flow is not a perfect flow, because there's something about managing this mob in a proper way that this watching is happening around. Okay, let's see. Yeah, I'm not even gonna, no, I'm just looking at this and I'm thinking to myself, like, yeah, I see it as all symbols, you know, but it definitely applies to a lot. So, okay, so let me take a look, and, you know, I want to almost move these cards into this position where they can see each other, because this pacing here indicates that there's something about this bright, shining light. There's something about this movement. There's something about this encounter with the mob and the way that you show up in response to it. I'm not getting a clear picture on like past, present, future. I'm just sort of seeing this is all kind of coming together under like what it means to look at this particular way in which you're being watched. It's okay. I'm working with like a very new energy, and it's a different process of channeling. And so like it's a different, so I'm working with an energy that I would call like Mother Tree or Mother Earth. And the way that I channel her, it leaves less room for me, like in a way, in a certain kind of way. And so like normally where I would have all these controls in place, you know, for the purpose of getting like a clean read on like one particular energy or another particular energy, actually I'm getting like a lot of bleed through. But I think that it's okay, because this is how she's doing. Like this is what she's This is her. This is how she's expressing. And so whatever it means for you to come into direct view with this King of Wands, Queen of Wands. King of Wands, Queen of Wands, when we talk about two separate energies, we're talking about counterparts. We're talking about a form of unity between, you know, an energy that is represented in I, in agency, in masculine sort of substance, and energy that is represented in we, in community, in feminine sort of substance in terms of energy. And so there's this way in which you are like there's a pacing to what it would mean for you to like be seen fully. And so I think that this message, you know, with the sun and, you know, whatever feeling of like, you know, the slowness or why is this going the way that it is, like it's going quickly with the Chariot. Actually, things are going very, very quickly. And it's not a big audience for you because with this Ten of Pentacles, it's quality over quantity. It's not numbers, and I don't think it's meant to be numbers. I think that's the part. I think that's the pacing. But it's quality. Like there's a quality to the level of the people who are, or the person who's watching you. And there's a level of intimacy and love there, and then movement with this that I think that, you know, your handling of whatever the mob and the trend chaser is leads to your being elevated by whatever this power of connection with the community is. And so with the King of Wands and the Queen of Wands facing in opposite directions, there's something about what you are creating that, you know, see, this is you creating, you're directing, you're making something, and this is you being seen by this is an audience, right? And so there's something about, you know, this was coming in the opposite direction with the Knight of Pentacles being about a certain type of pacing here that is there for a reason. Something that, you know, the bottom of the deck here that is all three piles is talking about something that is uncreated, that is coming into creation. And I think that you represent part of that. You know, I think that that's what all of this is. And so the sun and the gold, the value that you hold with the Golden Empress, the reward, the evaluation, the respite, the understanding, the community, and the ingenuity, the inspiration that you're bringing, this groundswell, this movement that comes from this tech energy of these wires, this is almost like there's some relationship to the way that you're handling the mob and the trend chaser that is a certain kind of pacing. And it keeps on making you look even brighter and brighter. And it does, and your guides are like, it does wonders for the art, so like it's not a problem. But there is something here about being paced, and this energy that is watching you, is watching this pacing, is watching you being paced, but they're very, very close behind you. Like it's the enchanted unity. Yeah, this is a unity. This with the King of Wands and the Queen of Wands, I do see a type of unity coming in. The enchanted unity. Let the animals be your guides. Harvest of the heart, balance, strength, and vulnerability. This is actually like a really powerful love story, and I want to be careful about when I say love story because the lovers are here, and I see this Ten of Pentacles, and I see this community, and I see this completion and this support, and I kind of feel like this love story is much more communal than it is individual with the Tech Wizard and the Ace of Cups. Again, the Ace of Cups is going to be, especially as it relates to the mob and the trend chaser, that Ace of Cups is going to represent the love that the divine has for you, the love that divine energies have for you, and it is them who move you, and it is them who lift you, and then it is them who like decide where you're going to go. You know, to this notion of the mob chaser, the cards that we have is, you know, just continue to express yourself in a dimension beyond the five senses, you know, inspire others to see life symbolically. That's it. That's the whole assignment. You know, with the mob and the crowd and the trend chaser here, the whole assignment is, you know, to continue to bring strength through your skill, your discipline, your toughness of will, your heroism, your stoicism, your self-sacrifice, and your conquering of the ego, you know, winning strategy. Continue to serve humanity with humility. Continue to bring passion to serve others by repairing the mind, body, and spirit. Continue to help transform pain into healing. All of that leads to this Ace of Cups, you know, situation with this Tech Wizard, with this energy, with technology that brings this unity of the Queen of Wands and the King of Wands into like a place of unity. Like that's where that unity comes in. But where let the animals be your guide is trust the pacing. Trust the pacing. Sit back and chill with the pacing. Be at peace, be at cause with the pacing, because the harvest of the heart, the balance and strength through this vulnerability and through this exercise, like you're shining like the absolute sun. And so let's see what the gods want to do for you in respect to this. The pacing is good. Continue to do the right thing in terms of responding to the trend chaser and the mob. The unity in terms of like what this Chariot is bringing you into contact with and into relationship with, moving out of that place of awkward, being awkward with your communication and into a place of standing very powerfully in your communication. Understand that whatever this Lover's card is in terms of that closeness, it's something that's moving you from one place to another, but you're not doing the driving. You're parked. This is moving for you, with you. And that comes back to this notion of like, pace yourself, be at cause, be at peace with the pacing. Let's get some cards on what the gods and the guides want to say about their participation, and it just like flops. And so the soul cage, the rescue, the escape from captivity and the escape from restriction, this is something that you might feel right now with things going like that. When we have this pacing in place with what you're trying to build and what you're trying to create, and like that reception, like that pacing might feel like a cage. The mob and the trend chaser might be feeling like you're not getting anywhere, especially with the Chariot by night, even though you're being followed by flight. This labyrinth of your thoughts being actually like something very valuable in terms of this Ten of Pentacles and the quality of the energies that are watching you. Like that's really incredible. That's major, and that's bringing you out of this awkward place. And so you're meant to understand that like this is all about your emancipation, but it's all about the emancipation of many others, which is why the sun and the spotlight is even there, or even turning in that direction, or even like part of this golden sun, reward community kind of, whole situation, that you are so delicate and so vulnerable as you keep on showing up in the face of whatever this monstrosity is. It's confounding, right? And so that unity is coming into it. This unity is going to come together. This unity is going to become, a reality, but it's going to be nature that brings it to the fore, and it's going to be your proper handling with this just reward and this evaluation. See how the mob and the trend chaser fall right under the evaluation, and these are the cards that say, do these things right, and you'll be fine. And you'll just continue to, shine like the sun. That's what part of this art is for you. And so the soul cage that you are being released through by way of vision, psychic images, clairvoyance, seeing, out-of-body travel, it is allowing for a level of breathing and entering into a life and exchange of life-bringing energies from the divine that allows you to just let go and allow the higher force to take charge. And so actually your entire reading in 3 different places has been to allow a higher choice to take charge. That's also what this tech wizard and this Ace of Cups says. It's whatever's going to push you forward, whatever it means to be in the position of being seen by this energy of the sun, being seen in this way, having whatever this uncreated come into created form is, it's something that you are meant to allow for a higher force to take charge. You're supposed to be parked by while this love moves you. You're supposed to be reacting to the mob and the trend chaser as warrior, messiah, healer, and artist, in that order almost. And you are meant to, and then again, it's a calm process. The steps are pretty much built in, and you are meant, when it comes to this ingenuity and this inspiration, to allow that to move you in a way that is the divine and the animals, doing it for you. And so you don't have to feel like you have to break out of whatever the soul cage or wherever people have placed you or put you when it comes to somebody's watching you. They're watching your rise. They're watching you handle things properly. And you are meant to be sort of parked while the chariot, while the subway train, while the adrift brings you into whatever this is. And so pile number 3, that is your message. I hope that was helpful. I think there's a lot there in terms of who's watching you, more than one. And it's a very positive evaluation that you are receiving, and as you move through what it means to create in this way. So pile number 3, I'm going to leave that there and sending you love and appreciation, and I'll see you again soon.